Morning, everyone. Lot of energy in the room since morning and quite a few diverse discussions that has been spoken about the industry. I'm here to thank everyone for your patient listening for next about 30-40 minutes as we begin a very interesting panel on the subject which Ajit just mentioned. With me, there are esteemed panelists who are sitting here. I have Om, Pooja, Sanjay and Snehil along. And we promise that we'll keep you engaged for these 30-35 odd minutes. India today is at the cusp of a transformation decade. As we all know, we are on course to become the third largest economy very soon. And as our beloved PM always refers to it as Viksit Bharat 2047. I think we are on great course towards that side, and all of us have been contributing towards it, to its growth and to the sustenance of it for a very long time. We will shortly be a $5 trillion economy, right? That's not small by any means, and probably a decade back, none of us in the room would have ever imagined that can we even dream of a $5 trillion economy. But here it is to happen. A large part of this will be determined by how well organized structure is our entire physical, so I will say physical and digital infrastructure is going to be. One side of that infrastructure is government. So I think all of us would have been following the news that the government has been doing its bit and has shown solid intent to do infrastructure development all across the country, which used to be more isolated in terms of either we were developing a port or a road or a particular quadrilateral. It is not isolated anymore. We are now somebody who's talking of creating large multimodal logistics parks. We are now talking about hundreds of acres of industrial development. We are now talking about integrating road, rail, air, sea, which was a boardroom conversation, but you have now seen it happening. There are live examples where people are actually using multimodes today to transport and store goods within the country. From the government side, there are obviously formal agendas that are being driven. So we had our first ever NLP, the National Logistics Policy, getting unveiled in the past. There is Bharatmala, Sagarmala, DFC, National Infrastructure Pipeline, etc., which is being talked about. If you look at World Bank's Logistics Performance Index, I think India has been consistently doing well, which should talk very high about what each one of us here are doing to improve the supply chain overall here in the country. As I said, all of us are big facilitators of the growth aspiration which our beloved PM has for the country. I would like to focus on one critical enabler here. While there could be so many enablers, there is one critical enabler, and which has been capital. Conventionally, for us to attract foreign capital was not this easy, right? What have we done right? There are three things that we have done right. Our demography. Our average working population is 29 years old, and for the next 30 years, I think we are going to have the largest global workforce. That is the biggest favorable point, whether you want to produce or you want to consume in this country. The second, as I said, a very steady government and a very, very steady investment that is happening on the infrastructure side. That brings a lot of stability in the investor's mind. The third is the current geopolitical situation, and thankfully, we are on the good side of it. Not because we are on the good side of it, but we really chose to be on the good side of it. We played our cards pretty right in the past about couple of years to develop those relationships other than the large economies like US or China. Right? We did pretty well to get BRICS on place. We did pretty well to do some of those countries where we never thought of going and doing trade. I think these are three major reasons why we are able to attract far more higher capital. Just to give quick numbers, close to about $80 billion of capital came into India in FY 24-25, of which about 11 billion came purely in real estate, of which about $3 billion were deployed last year purely towards industrial and logistics infrastructure. There are two sides to this coin. Why this growth again, and why this investment towards this side of the infrastructure in India? So while government pushes the investment in infrastructure, what have we been doing right as a community? There are two sides to it. One is logistics. So a very, very large consumption market today all across the world, again growing at 6-7%. And I think this is going to continue for about a decade now. That really makes a big case that your logistics has to be very efficient, which means the overall efficiency of how we are going to store goods, move goods, handle goods is going to change. And we are all seeing that it is changing by the way we have been doing things on ground. So that's one side of the coin. The other side of the coin is nearshoring is really gaining big momentum. Till about 3-4 years back, we used to hear China plus one. I think the term has changed. It is not China plus one, it is now beyond China. The whole world has accepted the fact that for various reasons, they will have to start nearshoring, not only from China, beyond China, but in some of other geographies also where they would be manufacturing. These two sides of the coin together give us a very compelling reason why we should dive deeper into this subject and why we should take view from the industry, all of you and my esteemed panelists here. That is where I'll close my opening remarks here. And we will now move on to the Q&A which we do with the panelists.